Welcome to Slay Your Keys Unhinged Rants. Today we're talking about the mindset that they don't teach. As someone who's worked with hundreds of players, it's the number one factor I see that determines how a student performs after our session. Mindset's really important for improvement. It's really important to dealing with not so ideal situations, which Valorant has plenty of. So let's talk about the first situation that comes to mind, a toxic arena. When this happens, a player has two options. What's the first thing that comes to mind? Okay, muting, good. That's one of them. And the second, what's another way we handle this situation? Yep, discouraged, sometimes angry. Like, why does this Reina not want to win? Why is she being toxic? What is wrong with this Reina? And these are the two types of paths. So I'll do it this way. We'll just say angry. This is usually the most common thing, some sort of anger. And these are what the two paths kind of mean. So mute is basically solution, and angry is basically continuing the problem, right? And now let me ask you, which player do you think, if I run them through this scenario 100 times, is going to come out on top? The player on the right or the player on the left? We'll call him P1 and 2. Who's going to be the better player if this situation, let's just say this situation alone, runs 100 times? Yeah, player 2, majority of the time, would come out of this situation a better player. The two ways we could think about this is someone who's more solution oriented. So player 2 cares more about what can I do about it to improve the situation, while player 1 kind of grovels in the problem. Player 1 continues to believe, okay, this player is still a problem. I still don't know what to do about it. And I continue to be angry and upset with this player. Like, oh, it's just another toxic Reina. And what this means is this player does what? After they mute the player, what does this allow them to do? So this person's focus goes back to the game. We're back to the game, baby. Focus, do this, onto the game. Okay, this person focuses on the game. Where do you think this other player's focus is? What do they care about right now? Where's all their tension, energy being drawn to? Not the game. Reina. Good. So I'll say here, I'm just going to say problem. In this case, we're thinking about Reina, but I want to explain that everything here, I use toxic Reinas because it's very, very common. Everyone's experienced it. But this can be applied to every single thing, not every single thing, but most trouble you face in game, even the things you probably wouldn't even think about. So we talk about toxic Reina here. What if I just change toxic Reina to, like, let's just say we die. Now we just straight up die. And so player 2 focuses on the solution, right? What can we do about our kill? Player 1 focuses on the problem. Oh, unlucky. Oh, my teammate should not have peeked that. Who do you think is going to improve out of 100 games? We run this back. Player 1 or player 2? Before we continue, let me remind you about the free resources available in our Discord, as well as our shop that includes agent cheat sheets, a comprehensive improvement guide, as well as your own custom warm-up training routine, and a deathmatch analysis. If this interests you, visit slayerkey.com/support. Now back to your regularly scheduled program. I'm actually going to bring this back. I'm just going to do another chart. This will take a sec, but we die. 100. Unlucky. Player 2. Yep, perfect. So this player says unlucky. This player says, what can I do better? Improvement, question mark, I guess is how I can do it simply. And so there's a lot of things that we're going to be facing in game that are going to fall into this category. If you think about some of the games you played recently, you can probably think about at least one situation where you were player 1 instead of player 2. It's very, very common. We all fall into this trap. And this is something we've probably heard about before. So I used previously problem and solution, but what it really is external versus internal. So if you think about when we die, there is some sort of factor. There's some cause for our death. This player says, oh, something happened outside my capability. Like, oh, this guy just peeked. Why did this guy peek this? While player 2 would be like, why didn't I expect this guy this peek this? Why didn't I try using the ability there? I could have used an ability there. etc. So when you're thinking about what's going to happen to this player 1 and player 2, and all these different scenarios we face in game, I think you can see the idea that player 2, more likely than not, is going to climb through these ranks, while player 2 is going to struggle quite a bit more. You might go up, you might go down. But because a lot of the times when player 1 faces a problem in game, they end up falling back down because they're wondering, why is this not getting better, when they're focusing on external things that they can't really change. A lot of external things you can't change. You can't change whether or not something was unlucky. You can change how you approach a situation. That's the improvement. You can't change whether or not this guy decides to peek that. You can change whether or not you expected the guy to peek that. You can try to observe intel, observe peeks, observe player behavior. Just say, if there's a player that can peek this, I should be ready to hold it. And this is your mindset as you play the game. And a lot of players tend to miss this. Even in Immortal, a lot of players miss this. They focus a lot on external factors. It's also just good life advice, right? A lot of stuff in life we can't control, some stuff we can. That's external and internal. Life is like a game of Valorant. And I summarized that a lot quicker than I thought I was going to. So I'll just give more examples of different things that come up in games. So we die is one thing. Another is like teammates are toxic. So toxic teammate. I'll just put this as like lazy teammate. Sometimes people get caught in like, my teammates aren't doing X, my teammates aren't doing Y, and so I won't do X or I won't do Y. Or like my teammates aren't doing anything and they're like, why are my teammates not doing this? I'll give a few more examples here. When people feel like they're playing bad, right? It's a good one. When people don't use, when they make a mistake, usually negative things. It all comes down to how you focus, where you basically direct your attention towards. Do you direct your attention towards the problem? So like, I made a mistake. I'm such a klutz. How could I do this? I'm dumb as heck. Or are you like, I made a mistake. Let me learn from it. What's the solution here, right? How can I improve my game based on what this happened? You can notice everything I'm going to list here is something external, outside our control, but that then becomes, we try to take internal. So for example, of toxic teammates. So what player 2 would do about a toxic teammate is just be like, hey, it happens. We play Valorant. We know there's going to be toxic teammates. Why let every time we face a toxic teammate distract us? Why should we let it distract us onto the problem instead of focusing on our game? Why should we let it affect our game enough where it goes to our performance instead of improves our performance? It's really how you think about this stuff. And this is why I think mindset is really important, just how you approach the game. It's a big part of my teachings. I understand stuff does happen. I understand things don't go always the way you want them to, but there's not much you can do about these things. That is my rant. Thank you guys for watching. I will save this and I'll leave it in the chat. I'll also put it in the sub channel, and I appreciate you guys for watching. Have a good one. Thank you. Bye-bye.